So the altcoin market has collapsed. No, the bull run is not over. Bitcoin's only down at 96,000, and last time we were traced, we hit like 95,000 or so, and we even wicked to about 92K. But altcoins have all collapsed double digits besides the top few. That top few being Ethereum, BNB, and Solana. Those are the only ones that have not gone down double-digit percentages today. Now, obviously, those haven't really pumped all that much. BNB did have a pretty good pump, but in terms of percentage-wise, it wasn't nearly as big as the others. So that's why they're only down single digits right now, because they are not quite as pumped, and everything else is leveraged to the hilt, because to get those giant run-ups, people leverage 100x, 125x a lot. So when things started collapsing, they started basically falling without too much control, and it is continuing to go on. Right now, you can tell that they don't really have much resistances or support, because when Bitcoin goes up just one tick, they go up like 5 ticks. If it goes down one tick, they're going down 5 ticks. But since Bitcoin is generally going down at this point, they're going down even more. So these are highly leveraged altcoins that don't really have much like support, because they haven't had enough time to actually build support because they rose up too fast. Think about it. Basically, all of them started pumping after the presidential election. Bitcoin did as well, but remember, Bitcoin does actually have institutional support, and none of these alts do. I know a lot of you that are fans of these altcoins are like, oh, X is buying my coin, BlackRock is buying my coin. No, BlackRock is not buying your coin. They have bought some Bitcoin for their customers, and they've actually had an investment in Bitcoin themselves. And no, Bitcoin is not some beta test for a new coin. It is the main product that they actually want. They're just buying it as a store of value, and that provides more grounding for Bitcoin. Plus, it's not quite as dependent on the 100x leverage to actually have brought its price up. It's had a longer time. Remember, Bitcoin has actually been strong in the market for the last 2 years, where some of these altcoins have basically just come off their lows within the last 3 weeks. So there's no support actually built in. If you look at the top charts, as we are going to right now, at this point, you'll see what I mean. Bitcoin is down by 2.82, Ethereum 6.95, BNB is 6.19, Sol is 8.93. However, XRP, who's got the huge run-up recently, is 15.25, Doge is 13.26, ADA is 16.63, TRX is 19.74. Everything else is basically down double digits. Some of the exchange coins like OKB aren't, but they are down as well. See, the altcoins are basically completely speculative. Bitcoin is still very speculative. But remember, like with institutional buys, the ETFs and stuff, it's stabilized down a little bit. Ethereum hasn't quite got there yet with its ETF, because no one actually buys its ETF right now. But altcoins are kind of like the Chinese property market. Basically, people are not really buying it for its use, but they're buying it for speculative value, hoping to sell it later. And unlike Bitcoin, they don't really have like stuff like El Salvador buying it for long-term reserves. Everyone is just basically buying and selling. So it's like the Chinese property market, like I said. And why is it like that? Because that's also a bubble built on speculation. You see, there's actually more homes in China than there are people. And that might sound dumb. You're asking, why is the housing price so high? It's because a lot of those houses are actually being bought by people that don't actually need a home, but already have a home, and they're buying it for investment purposes. So it's basically taking the house off the market, or the apartment, or whatever the hell you call it, off the market without it actually being occupied. So that creates artificial scarcity, because there is actually more than enough housing to house everyone. It's just that, if someone else buys it as investment, you can't buy it. And that's why housing prices have gone up. And that's why the bubble has popped. That's part of the reason bubble has popped recently, because people are discovering that there's a bunch of empty or vacant apartments or houses that no one's actually living in, and that the actual supply outstrips demand. That and a bunch of other reasons, which also are like crypto, because the Chinese housing market is also kind of funded like a Ponzi scheme from people that believe that the price is always going up, much like crypto. Remember, they're not actually buying these houses because of their utility. They're buying these houses because of their speculative value in the Chinese housing market. Whereas crypto, you're basically, besides Bitcoin, which has some institutional investment and some country investment, all these other cryptos are basically bought up on pure hype. Partnerships and stuff doesn't really do anything. Like real world adoption, not very much, or at least not anything that would actually affect the price of the coin. You're basically banking on the fact that number will go up and you will be able to sell it for more, because everyone's talking about basically generational wealth in crypto, no matter which one it is. Some people have believed in some crazy ass conspiracy theories result of cryptos, hyping it up even more. But when things actually start falling and selling, yeah, people tend to panic and sell. I don't think this is the big panic yet. I do think Bitcoin will actually go back up. I do think it'll cross 100K again. But my guess is that like 100K was a marker. A lot of people kind of like had that in there. And of course, I think like the 60 minutes segment was a trigger. You're thinking that was only for XRP, right? But remember, I think Anderson Horowitz was in that interview as well. So they talked about a lot of the aspects of crypto. Of course, they talked about Ripple as well, but they also talked about like other cryptos and the whole state of the crypto market. I think that interview actually had some people excited, and that was kind of like a buy the rumor, sell the news thing. You'll notice that like right afterwards, XRP basically went down 10 cents, like pretty much the minute that interview finished on Sunday. And the rest of the market soon actually followed. I think the hype has kind of died down for right now, and we're probably going to retrace maybe up to 90K, but I think we'll come back up. If we retrace 90K, a lot of these cryptos are going to go down. Maybe not completely to like the price they were before the pump, but they're going to retrace a good bit of the way. So I wouldn't be surprised that, like I said, people aren't buying these cryptos out of utility that they really need them or something. They're just buying them of speculative value, and there's always a bubble for that. And because they're leveraged to the hilt, once people start panicking and selling, the price really, really comes down. Like I said, a lot like the Chinese housing market, and could be like the U.S. housing market if we don't really do something about like the corporates or people just buying real estate for pure investment instead of living in them. Because if you have a bunch of vacant houses, that artificially drives up the price of housing, and to the point where like people are going to realize, hey, there's a bunch of houses that no one's actually living in. So when the crash comes, people want to get rid of the supply, but then no one's actually buying at that price, so the price comes crashing down. So it's the same thing for crypto, and even the leverage, it's very similar to the Chinese housing market because a lot of those houses were built upon debt. And that actually requires demand to stay strong and the price to keep going up. So you're seeing in the Chinese market right now that the government's having to intervene because consumer confidence has actually eroded and the price of property is coming down. Now, thankfully for crypto, it's not like the Chinese housing market because the Chinese housing market consists of roughly 30% of the country's GDP. Crypto does not consist anywhere near 30% of the US GDP, so it won't impact the overall economy, but it's still bad for us. But you shouldn't really freak out because crypto people are kind of crazy, and as soon as Bitcoin turns green again, all this stuff will turn green again, and people will start speculating. Because if they are dumb enough to believe in a cartoon bear and a dog mascot and speculate on that, then they will be crazy enough to speculate once again in about a week or so, maybe even less, when the market comes back up. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications, and I will see you guys later.